here. And this is my art station. I haven't even posted this one on Instagram yet, but it's live, it's here. And I have many more to come. I just wish that I could share them as, before they get released, but it might be years. So who knows? These are the ones that we're looking at right now. And oh yeah, I forgot. I can share this one. Remember the one that I said that I was really excited about, but would never get picked because it was in a back view
Yeah.
and the face was in profile view?
Yeah.
This is the one.
Right.
Yeah. Well, first of all, amazing. Like, this is really high level. I love the way that this is done. I'm gonna read the description and the artwork title in case somebody's seeing it on the phone, and so they don't really get to see this much. So it says this character is based on Kiyoshi from Avatar. The client shows this pose. Although this piece has already been submitted, I want to see how you push it further. Specific. My problem here is I don't know how to make the dragon look more dynamic. Any suggestions on how to make the composition more interesting and epic would be much appreciated. Okay, Katie, this is beautiful work. I have some suggestions about how to make this piece overall more impactful. Um, let me show you guys something. I think I can share this with you. Let me go to my West Studio folder. Yeah. Since this is pretty much all in the video, I think I can show this. So
Oh, you post this on Instagram, right?
I posted this on Instagram and I made a YouTube video about it, sharing the process. If you
Exactly.
guys want
Okay.
to check it out.
Just making sure.
Yeah. I'm
Okay.
trying my best not to break NDA, although sometimes I can help it.
I got you, man. Well,
Yeah. So the dragon, it really reminded me of sort of this same problem that I had in here. You see, the dragon had really been modified like several times, And the feedback that I got from the client was like, okay, we liked it. The silhouette is good. The only problem is it feeling a little bit flat, Too, oh my gosh, where's my pen? Why is my pen not working? Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. We're doing it live. Give me 5 seconds to get the pen to work. Oh my god.
the technical difficulties right there. It's all good.
It's all
Once
good.
again, guys, during the feedback, are you open to answering questions while you're critiquing?
Yeah, absolutely. We can do that.
All right, guys, just keep them coming. I'll call them out as I see them. So yeah, go. You can continue.
Yeah. It's good now. So you can see how basically the weapon was fitting in this box, and it's like horizontally perfect. I don't see any sort of depth. And what they were asking right after is like, okay, we need to turn the gun slightly into perspective, point it out towards the sky. That way we can get a lot more of a 3D form out of it. And even in this part right here, it's not pushed all the way because if you can see, they're going to keep asking me to really push on the perspective of the gun. And you would think that this is maybe done, but no. Like, you can see the difference in here. Like, for example, look at the face of the dragon. You can see how they really did wanted to push it so that we were looking at more from the side and backwards rather than from the front. And that's kind of what I feel like might be a solution to your problem in here. I feel like we are seeing this dragon too graphical, too much of a profile view. Even though I see, some of these bottom planes in here, I think we can really exaggerate that. And let me try and do that. But to be honest with you, I don't think the dragon is really the biggest problem of this painting. It's not like there's anything wrong with this, but I like to make with my students. I like to make a game of pretending whether of pretending that I'm right and that I give feedback to them. So basically, so that they know exactly the kind of feedback that they would come along the way, and they would be prepared for it. And it's like, okay, we need to show basically more of the bottom view of this character, of this dragon right here. And we're also missing a little bit of twisting. You see how we're all seeing the same planes throughout this thing? I would love to see maybe some more of a twist in here. I could see some ribbons forming. Beautiful way of doing the details in here that you've got. I'm just going to replicate that so we don't lose that much impact on the piece overall. But it's like, yeah, we just need, let me push this down even further. Because the idea that I'm trying to do here is try to fit this in a box, but something like this instead of a frontal view like we previously had. So that's kind of what I'm thinking for the dragon. But if I wanted to give you some feedback on the things that I feel like are the major issue about this piece, is that so in splash art we have two main things to focus, or in any big illustration. The first one being fundamentals, the second one being story. I think fundamentals are pretty much on point in here. You got beautiful rendering, you got beautiful forms. Maybe there's some anatomy issues that could help elevate this piece, but they're secondary. To me, the main point in here is, and what we're missing is some sense of story. Why do I say this? Because I feel like the character is, to me, to a first time viewer of this illustration, I feel like the character is just walking and standing into a very chaotic background with a character with a dragon behind her. I could draw some connection between the two characters due to the eyes glowing, but maybe a more obvious way of showing that would be to actually go for, I don't know, like glowing hands. A good old fashioned glowing hands could make this work. And even, that is actually something that draws a more logical connection between the two characters. Let's see. And then what I could also do is like, we don't need to see her legs, because I feel like the important thing in here, the main goal of this illustration is not to show this character walking or standing right there. Like if we could just chop this illustration like this, probably about here, and we could make this the final thing. Oh wait, actually, let me duplicate the layer so we can keep some of the background. Here. Like if we could do something like this, it would be much more impactful, because the character is already pretty well drawn, but there's a lot of space in the composition that feels empty because it doesn't feel like it has a purpose. I don't need to see all this like sky with empty, like it feels a little bit empty in general. I feel like if we could just zoom in on the character and maybe we could move it around, center it for a bit, and then we can start like modifying the different parts of the character that feel a little bit off. Those, for me, they are, you see this hand. You see how this hand is like out of perspective with the box of the wrist. I see how the hand feels like feels in a different sort of position. Feels like it's attaching too far to the left. I feel like if we could just move it a little bit, it would make for a more correct anatomy. And yeah, probably something like this. And yeah, we can just liquefy a couple things to make this character even more imposing. So the first one is, I noticed that the shoulder feels a little bit too pushed to the left and too raised. So I know this makes for a great silhouette, but we can just slightly dial it back down. You know, we can we can keep tweaking the proportions until we get something that feels more heroic and more epic. Normally, that would imply making the waistline uh, a little bit bigger, the hourglass shape a little bit more uniform, because it previously was like big top of the hourglass and a small portion of the hourglass and the bottom. It felt like this to me. So those are the main changes that I would give to this illustration. Honestly, there's many more ways to push it, but I don't think naming absolutely all of them in here would be something that the artist would be willing to change or to remember. So probably this is the way that I would do it if I was uh, dealing with very limited time. What do you think, Justin?
You should see the comments right now. Like just with those few tweaks, made a huge difference, especially with changing the plane, adjusting the plane of the head, the dragon head. A lot of people were like, "Oh yeah." Even myself, I couldn't help myself like from like saying, "Oh yeah," and like the twist with the body, with showing more scale. I think that adds more interest. And given the amount of detail that would be reworked, I think this is a very fair um, amount. But hey, I'm not the lead artist here. I am but a junior game artist.
Yeah, I'm glad
Oh,
that you guys are enjoying it.
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
There is one question right here from Ishi. Question: what are usually the techniques to tell a story in splash art without making it too complicated?
Okay, I have some good pointers for you. That's a great question. I honestly think that the way that I put it in here, it's pretty accurate. We have fundamentals and then we have story. But when it comes to splash art, story takes a second place. It's not the priority. Most of the stories that we see in splash art are really, really simple, because if they were a little bit more complex, they would take up some space from the character and they would make the story a little bit more important. And remember that the goal of a splash artist is to sell the design of the character,
Design, like
right?
what you were
So
talking about
for
earlier.
yeah,
Exactly that. Yeah,
so
yeah.
for this, we need to limit the amount of story that we can use. For example, some great sense of story is like I remember this one. Like the skins from Dr. Mundo are amazing. Like I really like this. In here you can see that the story is like really great, really simple. It conveys the character personality with a very simple pose. He has this open hand gesture in here, like raising the shoulder. Then you can see the beautiful freaking 10 gold 10 kilates gold freaking watch in here. Then you can see some other aspects that help you tell a story without detracting from the character. For example, you can see this part right here, the graph showing that Mundo approves, but it's upside down because he's like a dum dum. He's crazy. Then you get the freaking pissed off secretary saying like, "Oh my gosh, this guy, I hate
Really?
working for
Yeah.
him." Yeah. And then you also see the mug, which is dented because he is probably like not very gentle at all. So he probably goes around throwing stuff. Then you see the Mundo sign flipped away, flipped vertically. So it's like the background serves as a way of telling the story, but notice that the head is like really clear, you know? It's not from any weird angle, it's shown in an appealing way. We can get a great silhouette of the character and we get a good understanding of what this character looks like next to its surroundings, meaning he's really huge, In the composition, he takes like 80% of the space. And I can see that being done with many of the Mundo splashes. The one that I was looking for is this one, because I find it really, really amazing. Like the sense of story in here, it's there. He's lifting this thing like it's 500 kilograms, like it's nothing. Look at his expression. He's like, huh?
Is
You
he
know?
mewing? Oh, never mind. That's such a
Yeah.
Gen Z thing.
Yeah. He might as well be like pointing the finger in here at you know, the chin. He's doing the the mewing meme. So yeah, that's it. That's kind of the storytelling aspect. It takes a secondary place, and it's mostly happening in the background. And some of the not so great stories that I would see are like the characters just standing. You know, basically this. This is great, but wait a minute. Yeah, you can see this is not such a good story because even though the character is huge and he looks well very buffed, he has no connection to its surroundings. Like I could green screen this thing into any of the default WhatsApp or Zoom gray screens backgrounds, and it would be the same thing, you know. So we don't get a whole lot of sense of story. That's what the backgrounds are mostly here for. And yeah, we just keep in mind that the poses need to be really simple and need to be elegant and showing the design so that the story can just be like something simple. And if I wanted to give you some really practical advice, when you're designing a splasher, next time you think about the story, just use one action, meaning he's fighting. You can think of a verb in here. You can fighting, eating, and those are the things that are going to guide the pose and the story. What you don't want to do is something that I once saw my student do. Let me where is oh, I think I'm going to have to find this in some other time. But yeah, you don't want the characters to have like several things going on at once. Like for example, she's running, but she's smiling, and then she's also casting an ability. You know, one action is all that it takes to create good story. That that would be the advice here.
Take that, Ishi. Okay? Absorb it. Memorize it. Keep it simple. Oh,
Yeah.
Katie Chan says, thank you so much. Like with the like three C's, three H's. The glowing hands made a huge difference in the framing. Two exclamations. So she's very thankful.
Ah, nice. I'm
Yeah.
so happy that I could be helpful. So yeah, last week's that you see me doing this one before jumping to the next one is I was also, since I changed the perspective of the dragon, I was also making sure that the character was seeing a little bit more from below consistently. You know, so I'm modifying the ellipses of the ornamentation in here, you know, all the details, so that they match a little bit more the current perspective. But yeah, small tweaks, it makes a big difference, I think. So yeah, that's it for this one. Thank you for submitting. It was a great piece. Let me group this.
You'll be sure
And
to apply that right away. Oh, next one. Okay.
yeah, we're going with the next one.
We got
S-
Ishi.
Yeah. Okay. I tried stylizing the reference on the left. I wanted to exaggerate the shapes and colors. So specific points. General critique. I want to know the strong and weak points of the study and how can I improve it. I also want to know if my values are looking good. Okay, so first of all, this looks amazing. You know, in terms of values and shapes and colors, I think it's really sound. I also get reminded of the arcane style, you know, with the chiseled planes, the exaggerated shapes for the eyes, the mouth, the nose. All of that seems really great. I don't know if you, for example, were trying to go for a more accurate depiction of what you were seeing in here, or you were just trying to base it off as a loose reference. I don't mean this as like, oh my gosh, you got it all wrong, you know? But I mean it in the sense of like, if proportions is something that concerns you, we can definitely try to make it closer to the portrait on the left. You see how, let me just try to trace over this really quickly. So you see, we got ourselves a beautiful face right here. Let me mask out the eye shape for this one. protruding cheekbones, and then we have the jawline, the side plane of the face, the chin, and we have this sort of going down. We also have the eyes, really quick tracing in here, and we also have the nose. And the nose is something that I want you to pay attention to because it feels like this is where the majority of improvements could happen. So here, this is what I'm looking at the nose. Really quickly, these are my lips. And this is sort of the mask that I see for, the simplified version of what I'm seeing in here. So if we move this around and we try to put it right next to yours, it's really close. But there are some small tweaks that makes us think that make me personally think that this could be improved with a little bit of use of perspective. You know, it's a little bit hard to see at first because you really did a great job. But for example, I feel like, I don't know about you, but to me, the expression, it seems like it's changing from one to the other. Like, let me do this so I can even make the point clearer. I'm going to duplicate it and I'm going to put it right on top, so that we can see. Okay, let me match it a little bit better here so that you can see how things are changing. That's one tip, by the way. If you are trying to copy something or make it close to the reference, you can pretty much put it next to it. And when when you put one on top of the other, the changes become more obvious, when it comes to proportions. It feels like in this one, we are looking at this from like a 3/4 view, but very much from the front. In this one, it still looks like we're looking at it from the top. So I would recommend paying attention to those things. But I'm just going to make this one small recommendation about the nose. You see how in here we've got, let me make it even bigger. You see how the nose in here, it has like this one nostril, but then it goes like this, you know? You know what it kind of reminds me of? When I used to draw some anime things as a kid, you got always, no matter the view of the face, we always get this triangle for the nose. And even
Yeah.
though it's cool and it's a stylistic choice, I feel like maybe it's not the best in here because everything other than the nose seems correct. So the nose seems a little bit off. So maybe we can bring back the other nostril in here, you know? And ideally, again, you would have to do this very much looking closely at the reference. But this is the first thing that came to mind. And now the second is, I know that the light source that you're thinking for this image is this one, same as the reference, top left. However, I feel like we need a little bit more understanding of the planes to make more accurate decisions when it comes to lighting. Because you see this plane right here, this is perfect, the side plane. But this plane right here, that makes up for the cheekbones, and then we have this one for the muscle and the mouth muscles and everything like that, they are facing the same direction, meaning the light would hit them pretty much the same. And yet it feels like the lighting is only hitting this part, you know, and this feels like devoid of light or of a highlight. So I would recommend we just go ahead and extend this a little bit, you know. And if we really are going for that chiseled plain look, I feel like we could do we could exaggerate that more and we can bring that even more into the other parts of the character. Not only the silhouette, but within the silhouette, we can look at, for example, the sides of the nose. You know, this is like another different plane. Maybe we can look at the glabella, which is the connection between the nose and the forehead. they really do this in Arcane, where they push the shapes to basically maximum stylization, and I really love it because it feels really intentional. So there's that. We could also do this. Also, something that I noticed, like when I was correcting this in here, it feels okay. But for example, every time I see a highlight, which is this, the highest value that I see in this composition, which is this right here, if I put it next to the shadow value in here, it's like, okay, but it seems a little bit off. It seems like it's missing something. And I feel like that thing that's missing is a saturated value between the transition of the two. We want to bump up the saturation as much as we can, and that's going to make it easier in the eye, and it's going to blend it better. That if we just do this, which is like, and we blended it, you see how this one looks a little bit more dull. This one looks a little bit more like skin. So that's something that I found myself into this part right here. So let's just add the saturated tone next to the highlight, so it makes up for all the different things. You were doing this in most of the parts of the painting, which is really good, but I feel like we could even push it in some other areas. Mm, when it comes to the mouth, I believe, like, let's go back to the mask that we previously did. Here. When it comes to the mouth, I believe that we are showing too much of the upper lip compared to the lower lip. Again, we are trying to maintain the reference in here. So as you can tell, this is a little bit more of a, oh shit, my bad. This is more of a top-down angle. So you can see that the lips in here, they are this big compared to this big. If I were to measure the distance and the height relationship, it's like a little bit bigger. So those are the kind of things that you want to pay attention to. Let's see if we can liquefy this and make more sense out of this. So, boom. Oh shit. I always get that when I do liquefy. So there is that. We do the nose, which now that I'm seeing, it feels like the wing of the nose should go up a little bit more compared to the reference. Then the eyes, I feel like we could make them a little bit bigger. The pupil could be a little bit bigger. The eyebrow, it feels like she's frowning a bit, so maybe we can get her a lighter expression overall. And yeah, I feel like this part right here could use less spacing overall. I don't know which version of Photoshop you're using, but as you can tell, this one has some nice, useful features that maybe sometimes you could get to use, which is like, I can modify this like this. Very simple, very easy. I can make the upper lip bigger or smaller.
So
I
I
didn't know this.
think it's
So
pretty recent. Yeah. Um,
this is the
Post
2020
2020.
version.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, oh, and one thing that I also like to point out is, you see the hair shape that we're forming here? If we are trying to show form, it's better to have everything wrap up around the form. Instead of sitting on top, we have to make them wrap up around the form. And what I mean by this is, like, you see how the bangs in the picture, the reference picture, are like this. You see, it's not that big of a difference, but when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, it makes it look more three-dimensional because it's already following the same perspective and the same planes. It's wrapping around the same things as everything else. So it's just a matter of like consistency in there. Mm, so yeah, in terms of color and in terms of light, which you wanted me to give you some recommendations, it's alright. It's really good. I feel like, um, honestly, if I were to take some more, like something else into this painting, would just be making sure that the proportions are right and making sure that we follow the overall same perspective. It's if that's the goal. If you're just trying to go off of an image, then that's totally fine. I see that you're doing a great job. And please pay attention to how all the features within the face connect to each other so that everything looks a little bit more balanced and believable. So, yeah, that's what I would say for this portrait.
We got a question.
Oh, go
Kind of
ahead.
long one. I don't know how to pronounce their name, but it's seven Z's. So I'm gonna call you seven Z's. I'm so sorry. You got no choice. So their question is: you talked about making the story simple on splash arts, but how about the story on card illustrations? I remembered your fan club president art for Runeterra, and it's really cool. What were your
Mm,
thought processes on how to balance the story while only having a specific part frame for the card?
I see. You know, card games are totally a different story because it really gives you a little bit more flexibility on whatever you're trying to do. So let me pull up the cards that we were talking about here. Oh shit. Yeah, this one really was a struggle, but you can see that we had different options, and you can see this. I'm gonna make the difference very clear for you in a second. So let me look up Alex Flores, which is insane. I don't know if you know this guy, but if you don't, you can definitely look up his work and learn a thing or two about shape design and lighting. So, you know what? Let me do something different than Dr. Mundo because I might be abusing the example in here. Uh, yeah, Evelyn would have to do.
Oh, is Alex Flores Filipino? Not. Oh, someone said. Oh,
Oh
I
my
think
gosh,
he
I don't
is.
know. He
People
is?
are saying Philippines, Philippines. With heavy P, not an F. uh, PH. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know
Oh,
that. That's really interesting. I mean, Alex definitely sounds well, maybe American, I don't know, but
maybe
Flores,
Svilam. Yeah, Flores is
Flores,
Spanish,
yeah,
Filipino.
I could even feel Latino or something like that. But yeah, so I'm gonna make the difference really clear for you. You see how in thumbnails for Splash Art, it's all revolving around the character, right? It takes up to, I don't know, 80% of the composition. And we are just trying to show off that the character basically trying to fulfill the fantasy of the player of like, oh my gosh, this is a freaking powerful demon and she's kind of hot and she's coming after me, you know? So that's kind of the goal in here. In the cards, you know, especially in Legends of Frontera, since I got to work on this project, I can give you some insight. Story comes first. You know, the scheme that I gave you earlier about fundamentals and then story, it gets flipped in here. You know, it really is flipped in for Legends of Frontera. So this is lore, and this is League of Legends. You know, and how do we make this a priority? We give ourselves tools to try and balance the importance of the story. How do we make story happen really? Let me rephrase that. How can we make a sense of story in our paintings, like really really cleanly and really simple? We have two things interacting, or those two things would be two characters, or a character in a background, or a character in a prop. You know, in this case, those are the thumbnails that got approved. And as you can tell, the character, first of all, it's not taking 80% of the composition, like my friend Alex Flores and he would do. And second of all, you can tell she's interacting with other characters. For example, she is dragging her friend, into the line, and we have all this beautiful crowd of people showing in the back. You know, like now that I look at it, this kind of looks like Milo from Arcane. What the hell? That was not intentional, not at all. um, yeah. Then we can see in here she is part of a crowd, but the way that we make her stand out is through the use of lighting. But it's about more than just her. Is how she interacts with the background and what she is doing. Because the pose is okay for selling the design, but you could agree with me that there's many more uh, ways that do that more efficiently. But this one, it's focused on the story, basically focusing on how this character relates to the world surrounding them. So, how do you come up with stories, and how do you basically make them work before you put any pen to paper and before you start with a blank canvas? You can write down stuff. You know it's going to be good or not before you start painting if you start drawing. You know, if you can say the idea out loud and it makes sense, it's only going to be better when you paint it because, well, uh, we can communicate with words as well. And sometimes we don't want to spend like 2 hours on a sketch that may not be the best thing. And we're going to have to do a lot of changes to it. So, um, yeah, basically, we make the characters smaller, we make them interact with other people, other background elements, or other props. And that's how we get a better sense of story. And in here, they're pretty much standing on their own, or they're interacting with some things that are off camera, you know? But like I said, the purpose is completely reversed. One shows the character, the other one shows the story. So you could approach that in different ways. And in the end, since it's a card game, the format is going to be like vertical. So you just have to crop the image to whatever the card name it is. So if the card is about Seraphine, well, we can just crop Seraphine fan on the card. But if the card is like, oh my gosh, the crowd of whatever, we can then make the crop into a different thing that includes more of the characters. But yeah, we have more tools to play when it comes to card games. But I might say, like, if you have never done very much story driven work, it's really, really, really tough. I cannot emphasize how much. I really underestimated it, but I am happy that I got to learn from some of my peers who had like years of experience and helped me out. So, definitely, when you're trying to do any sort of story driven work, we might as well just do we might as well just start with something simple and eventually make up for the complexity. Go up uh, in difficulty. I don't know if that answers the question, but
I
yeah.
think it does. So there you go, Seven Z's. I don't know who you are in the server, so I think you change. You have a different name in the server. But yeah, there you go. Thank you for that. Right.
Yeah, we got two left. These ones are
Yeah.
my favorites.
Oh, we hear that,
Okay.
JM. You're one of the favorites. Hey.
Yeah. Hi, JM. I think, let me read it out loud. So, Hexic Jana channeling her skill, Howling Gale. Okay, you happen to be in luck because I know Jana because I play Jana in League of Legends, so I know a thing or two about the champion. Uh, her current splash art is outdated compared to the other splash art of the Hextech skin line. I created this piece to somewhat match the feel of the other Hextech splash arts. I want to know what I can still push in this illustration and apply it in my future work. Okay, I see what we're doing here. First of all, I want to say that I love the lighting setup in this one. It feels very much like more moody and more like it goes along with the character a little bit better, I would say. Let me look for the old splasher because I think Hextech, Jana. Oh, Lord have mercy. What the hell is this? Okay. Yeah, this is really, really, it's getting dated. So yeah, definitely I would say this is an improvement from the current splasher. I am sorry that this is like still the splasher that's in the game. Uh, but yeah, some things that we can push in terms of, like I said, the feedback is always going to be regarding fundamentals or story. I'm going to give you the fundamentals feedback first. So you see, I'm purposely zooming out way, way out in here so that we can see the bigger picture. And I'm going to strip away the color even. Like there's a way of photo in Photoshop that you can do this. You can look it up in Marco Bucci video about digital hacks. I think it's the way that he called it. But yeah, you can look it up in black and white and look out, like zoom out very, very much so that it's like a small picture. What I see in here, it's I see a big shape in the bottom. I see this. I see the two things going on in here, and I see this. Everything else is like black to me, or reads as shadow to me. And as you can tell, this is like very confusing, or it could be confusing for the viewer to know what they're looking at. You know, there's ways that we can keep the moodiness and that we can keep the lighting, but we can make the character clear in the composition. How can we improve that? I'm going to give you like a small uh, framework to think about. And whenever you're doing this, maybe you can start with a something like this, like a compositional breakdown of the thing. You want to know how things are going to read related to each other. So first of all, uh, let's say this is the color of my background. Okay, let's say it's like this dark gray. Then I'm gonna pull out the good old fashioned sphere to demo the lighting. So yeah, this is my this sphere represents the character, and we are gonna see how to use lighting to separate the character from the composition. You know, so let me create a new layer so we can make changes to this. Now, the important thing in here is that we want shadows and light to be clear, to be crystal clear. We want separation, and we want everything to read as a whole. From what I'm seeing right now, the light sources seem to be like the magic or the dust or the environment coming from below, and the two birds that happen to be, uh, yeah, they're lighting the planes of the shoulders and the side planes of the body. You know, that's okay. We can work with that, but we can make that even more clear to have a more compelling image. So this one can be a rim light in here, and the other one could be like a spotlight in here. These are my two different light sources in the scene. I'm not even taking into consideration the colors just yet, but this is how I want the character to look. And to bring a little bit more realism into this, I am gonna wait. Yeah, I am gonna make the background just as you had it in here. It's almost going to white. And let me account for the bounce light in here. But basically, this is what I want you to think about. You know, we got one character standing on a background. Is the character lighter or darker than the background? Okay, if it's darker, how are we going to light the character so that it reads? Okay, these are the kind of questions that I want you to think about when you're doing this work. And if you have this scheme in mind whenever you're painting, it's like you need to follow these rules in order for the painting to read. Now, I'm going to try to do that in a very timely manner in here so we can uh, see how this could be done. It's I see some other issues about the anatomy and whatever that could make this a little bit better, but for now, let me just refer to readability. So what I'm going to do is I think for this demo, it might be even more helpful to not think about the color at all. So I'm just gonna black and white this thing, and I'm gonna still color pick. So it's gonna be colored anyways. But yeah, I'm gonna use this brush right here, which has like a hard edge and a soft edge. So it's gonna be easier for me to show you what I mean. So we got this, and we got the different planes of that part. We also got this part right here coming up. This is all great. Now I can quite literally darken this thing and lighten the background. And remember, all that I'm doing is trying to stick with the rules that I established a couple minutes earlier so that my character reads even better. Okay. I see that you're trying to go for the underlighting in here. We can definitely do that, but I think like it might be useful to bleed in some of the light from the sides of the character to show that there's a light source still and that it's affecting things. So we might as well do this. Light for the neck, light for the color. Then the hair, I feel like we can extend this lighting in here and create something a little bit more clear for the viewer. Let me use this brush to create hard shapes around the hair. And this brush to smoothen out the edges. If you guys are curious about the brushes and everything, I don't have a brush collection of my own. These are just the ones that I happen to find along the way. It's not like I dedicate time for putting this together. But yeah, maybe if you guys want, I can send you the brush pack that I'm using at the end of this section. Okay.
Little heads up and trivia. Santiago is also part of our Discord server. He's been there for the past 2 hours, so in case you didn't notice in the server, he's right there.
Yeah. I gotta say, I'm not gonna be the most active person, not because I don't like you guys or anything, because I suck at life and suck at social media. So it's like a little difficult for me to keep up with all the
Nah,
different
nah, no pressure,
messaging and
man.
everything. But yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna be there and look for the different chats ever so often. So anything you want to say, please reach out.
So can they slide into your DMs and ask stuff about art?
Yeah, I would love that.
You guys heard it right there. Oh yeah, so don't feel like you're pressured to hang out. Because whenever you're free or just feeling like chilling, we got some featured artists who have hung out in the server, like Anthony Avon. I'm not sure if you've heard of him.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, he hung out quite a few times, and he's also like sharing pics of his cats and dogs. It's pretty cool.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I'm down for
okay.
it.
We have a little hashtag going on in the top chat right here.
Okay, let's see it. What's going
Oh,
on in the chat?
oh, okay. So you know how your middle name is Para? I can't roll
Yeah,
my R. So in
yeah, yeah.
Filipino, that means four. So whenever someone's being critiqued, they're putting like para hashtag para kay KD. It's like that means for KD or for JM. Like,
I didn't expect that. Wow.
and they're really creative. These
Yeah,
fools. Yeah,
I love that.
there we go. Got you guys.
Yeah.
Safe, safe. Okay, got you guys. I'm gonna keep it safe.
So yeah, let me let me pull up this image as well for a sec, so that we can get a better look at the materials of the character. I'm comparing to see whether I'm going too light or too dark on some things. I know the design might not be exactly 100% accurate, but that's what I would start. Um, that's what I would start with. So yeah, basically this is what I would do for starters. Like I feel like when you look at it from afar, maybe we can even bleed more lighting into this. Yeah, when we look at this from afar, I feel like the viewer can definitely understand what's going on a lot better. You see,
Yeah.
it's before and
Um,
after. There's many things that I could still change about this. For example, let me do a quick liquify to see if this can be improved. I know the colors are going to be like weird because I painted in black and white, but yeah, let's just go for the good old fixing in here. Okay, so first of all, let me lower this part. Head feels a little bit big. I'm gonna move it in here. We're gonna try to liquefy our way out of this thing.
she got the Pixar mom belly.
Yeah, we need the Pixar mom booty and hips. uh,
Palibalik.
yeah, overall, what I'm looking is a little bit more consistency in the silhouette. So I'm gonna, the staff is gonna be all wiggly and wobbly, but that's okay because of the liquify. Here it is. Beautiful. Now let me lower this part right here so that it matches the angle of the shoulders. Now let me make the hand. I'm gonna chop off the hand and then cut it and make it longer. And yeah, I feel like this may do. Like now, if I really, really wanted to change this and make this even more into perspective or anything like that, I could start redefining the legs because you see how the legs are currently like this. You know, ideally we would need to find the structure of the legs and try to make sure that they are accurate and they are like following whatever shape that we need in here. But mainly, that's what I would focus on for this one. Let me put the staff in here. Here sounds about right. And yeah, I feel like this would be my critique for this drawing. Like it's beautifully done. I think we just need to focus a little bit more on the gesture and on the lighting to make sure that it feels like all the surfaces are being properly lit. I know you really, really did a huge effort in here to come up with this piece. And I really appreciate that you're showing some love to the old skins because they're freaking forgotten and nobody cares about them. I do. So I appreciate that. So yeah. Let me do one final tweak to the eyes so they can like be beautiful again. Because I've ruined them.
Some people saying it's way more clear and readable now, and they see it.
My gosh, I can keep changing so many things about this. Not because it's wrong, but because the more that I get into it, it's like, okay, let's make it even better. Okay, let's make it even better. You
Oh,
know?
you're getting into the flow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I don't want to get into the flow because I know there's someone else waiting for critique. So, yeah, maybe we can chat about this piece even in the Discord group if you want to hit me about it. I can give you some more specific pointers. So,
You hear that, JM? All right. Oh yeah, JM's online right now. He's currently watching. He says, "Hey."
yeah.
Alright.
So this is gonna have to do it for now. Basically, to sum it up, all the critiques in here, I feel like the story is pretty good in this one. I see the expression and the interaction of the characters with the birds and the abilities and the staff is really great. I would say we need to focus on making sure that the character reads, which this is I would call this composition. You know, making sure that from an abstract point of view, everything is understandable, which also carries some weight when it comes to lighting, making sure that the lighting is consistent for all the different planes of the character. If you're having trouble with that, try to imagine them as very simple forms, such as cylinders, boxes, and spheres. You know, those are your basic forms that you can try to learn how to lit. And yeah, maybe we can use a little bit more accuracy and gesture when depicting the figure, but those are all going to come uh, naturally to you as you keep drawing and drawing. So I would say this is a very, very good job. So yeah, thank you for letting me paint over.
Little tidbit in trivia: JM is actually one of our fallen brothers stuck in graphic design hell. He's looking to get out
Oh
into
no.
making art for games. So, hope this boosts JM's motivation to push even harder. So yeah, thank you
Yeah,
for painting over.
awesome. And we got a final one, I think. Yeah, let me group this up. Oh wait, this was part of it. And here, oh my god, this is really freaking good.
Yeah, this is Rafts. Hey, a little trivia again. He's the same age as you.
Oh really?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah. It's
man,
23.
that's amazing. Wow. So let me read this out loud. So Baf, thank you for your submission. This is beautiful already. Description: powerful monstrous cosmic being escaping its imprisonment from a portal. With its immense power, planets are being destroyed. I want this piece to show the size of the character and its power. Specifics. I don't have any specific points in mind, but I want to know what I can do or push. Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful. Do
Oh,
you have any
correction.
suggestions for this piece?
He's
Oh, go ahead.
younger.
He's
He's
younger.
22.
Oh my
Oh,
god. Yeah, he's beating my ass right now.
oh, oh no. Raph's ego is getting. Raph's really a cool guy. He's the one giving me pointers since like last year. Giving me feedback on my illustrations before. So yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
really?
what was
That's
your
so
question?
cool.
What was your
Oh, I wanted
question?
to say, like, man, do you have any feedback for this guy? Do
Me?
you personally? Yeah.
Well, in my limited expertise, nah, it's actually more on him. Like he likes to shoot himself down. So my feedback for him is just to keep at it. I got nothing to say with the composition right here because this has gone through different. I was there when this started out. This was way different, like 2 years ago. I saw this piece early on, and then I think he went to Moon Colonies I think it was Envar's Discord server and had asked for feedback there. So it went through the ringer as well. And
Mm,
yeah, I got nothing else to say that people more experienced than me haven't already said. I
I
mean, it
see
sounds like
what you're
I'm copping
doing.
out, but I'm admitting I have limited knowledge on illustration. I'm more of concept art.
I
Yeah.
see. Okay, okay. Well, I do get some feedback from you for a very, very like first impression of this. It's beautiful. Like even the level of finish and the quality, it's like really, really good. I have some general feedback that could improve maybe this piece. So, for example, if you want to make a character so freaking huge and big, why not make it all the way? Might as well just duplicate it, make him even bigger. Or, you know what, let me do this. I'm going to duplicate the composition and I am going to, I'm going to get rid of his comment for now. Clip this one in here. And yeah, I'm going to move it, tilt it slightly, and make it even bigger. And why not? Let's even make the character even bigger. That way he really fills up the space. Now we're going to take care of the background and everything that was lost in the middle. So first of all, I would say I like this chain going to the foreground, but I am not a huge fan of having the fist show perfectly within the chain. It feels like it could be staged a little bit. So we have different solutions for that. I feel like we could either push the hand upwards a little bit more or make this chain not go all the way to the right of the canvas, but maybe have it like starting in here, you know? So I'm going to try to do that. Then I'm going to go back to this and copy copy the fist from the other side here. Duplicate it. Perfect. And I'm going to erase the chain for now. Like, again, this is me just being nitpicky because this is already so good. Okay, so this is honestly a great job. Then I'm going to size it up slightly because this one seemed to be way larger than this one. And we are trying to show that this character is massive, so might as well have bigger fists. Okay. Yeah, maybe we can move it down slightly like here. Yeah. Maybe, just maybe. You see how this rhythm in here that you're doing with the chain is beautiful? You know what would be even better? If we kind of mimicked it all the way, but in the other side of the composition. We could do that with the chain, but maybe it wouldn't make so much sense. So we can do with rocks. We can have like different sides, different sizes of these things, and we can have them like traversing in space and creating the same sort of spiraling motion that you do have with the chains. And that could be something, Also, one thing that I would love to do in here is to multiply the value of the chains because I want them to really be darker. And I don't want the chains to like take up I don't want the chains to be super important in the composition because all it takes for the chains to read is the silhouette, which is already really good. So I don't need to put a lot of detail into that and just have it be darker and everything else surrounding them could be lighter. Same thing with this deltoid in here. I feel like we can make it even bigger, especially when we compare it to this huge arm that we have here. This one feels a little bit tiny. So we can do that and we can do this to separate the different planes of this character. Like right here. And if this is becoming all too dark, we can always separate it abusing, I would say, the atmospheric perspective, which is always a handy little trick in the bag that we like to do. Now, you see how the values in here from the inside of the chest happen to be really close to those of the chest itself. It's like too close together. I would say we can quite literally take this and color dodge the crap out of this, you know, and make this a little bit darker, just a little bit. I'm sorry that I'm flipping the canvas sideways. It's just the way that I feel more comfortable with this
Oh
brush.
no, no, no. It's all good. I mean, I think if we were doing this traditionally, we would like move the paper canvas.
Yeah. So same thing for the monster in here. I would multiply the metal. We're really trying to make sure that since you have a cool design going on, we don't need to play up with the lighting as much, you know? So I'm trying to make the character read in terms of its design rather than in terms of the lighting. Because again, it's already very, very well done and very beautiful. So we might as well take advantage of it. So what I'm going to do here is multiply this thing. And I am going to get rid of some of the detail in the shadow parts of this fur cloak that he has. For that, I can do lighten. A lighten layer would literally take the darker values and lighten them up. So there's that. I could also bump this deltoid, even though it's anatomically broken, it might just work because we get to see more of the imposing silhouette. And same with this beautiful deltoid. Now, I'm going to take this to the liquefy thing, and I'm going to try to make it even more uh, gestural. So I'm going to try to bring this back, bring the tricep back, you know. Maybe we could even push this up so that the perspective is more, uh, we're looking at this from below even more. That shows that he's even more imposing. So I'm going to make this even bigger as well in here. Make this fist like that. I am going to also do again some atmospheric perspective behind the chains so that it's clear what we're looking at. And let me bring back some of this beautiful lighting that you previously had and I've completely annihilated. Um, I love the planets in the background. I feel like they're really adding a lot of medium-sized shapes that could work. I would love to see, however, some more planets closer to the character so that we can really, really see how they relate to each other, you know? So I'm going to make this smaller, rotate it. Maybe I can have one more in here. And we could also do a little bit more stars. And yeah, it seems like I have a lot of feedback for this one. Uh, but it's not because I am, again, uh, saying that this is a bad piece or anything like that. It's just that I am trying to be just as picky as any of the Riot people would be. So anything that you find in here, it's not that, so that nothing catches you by surprise. This specific planet in here, I feel like if the goal is to make him feel huge and really imposing, I would say this is no good for us. You know, we really need to make this smaller so that the character can be the main thing and the biggest object by far in the composition. That way we know there's a clear scale difference. Imagine being next to a planet and the planet feeling like really, really small. That's kind of what we want to do here. Mm, let me see. How is this reading in terms of values? feel like it's okay. It works. Maybe, uh, yeah, maybe I'm gonna multiply this part right here because it's getting like too close to the values of the mouth and it's making it difficult to read. But other than that, my man, you got a killer piece right here. I'm just playing up with the contrast to create something that's more, um, well, to something that's more readable. There's nothing wrong with the one that you had. It's beautiful. I would say it's really, really good. Keep, please keep going. We need more people like you. And yeah, this is just my 2 cents in trying to make it look like I am trying to make this better, but I'm just doing my stuff. I'm I'm really trying to add to this piece, but it's already beautiful. So there's not a whole lot to add. And before we wrap this up, I think that maybe there's one more thing that I could help you improve with this piece overall, and is the silhouettes. The silhouettes are pretty good in here. The character is clear, the chain is clear, the planets are all easy to understand, which is really good. The one thing that I could say that makes this piece pop even more is, instead of having like really like curvy edges, there's nothing wrong with them. But if we're showing a monster, we want to show something that feels more chaotic. Instead of a line being like this, I might as well do this and then this. I really want those silhouettes to pop. So I'm going to try to do that really quickly. And I might as well, it's probably going to detract from the piece as a whole because it's not going to be as polished. But yeah, I want the silhouettes to really be obvious to the person. So really this part should be like this, and probably this one should be like this. The curves, I'm making it more curvy, and the straights, I am keeping them really straight and really dynamic. So this is it, and it may go in alignment with the monster. So that's why I'm doing this. I'm just going to do it in the face. You can take a crack at it in the other parts of the body if you want, but that's basically what I'm saying. You see the before and after. Let's
Yeah.
even do it in the fur because, yeah, that's going to make a big difference. I'm going to get rid of. You see how the fur feels like it's all this big shape? I feel like we can break that shape up into smaller and medium-sized shapes. Create like something like this. Then we have like two smaller sized ones, maybe a bigger one in the silhouette. And that's going to give it so much more depth. So I'm going to try to do that. All of these, I think I can. And then I'm going to try to refine the silhouette. I'm sorry if this is taking a little bit too long.
Oh no, no. I should see the chat. Everyone's like beaming. They're cheesing. I can tell from the screen they're cheesing from behind the screen. I
Yeah,
got a
I'm
little
really glad.
anecdote to share about Raph because so like earlier this year, I kind of referred him to be an intern at the studio where I'm working at, and my
Ooh.
art director asked like, "What's one negative thing you can say about Raph?" And then because he was thinking of getting him, and I was like, the thing that sucks about Raph is that whenever our works are together posted online by Brushpoint, I can't help but feel like I'm lacking behind. So I made the negative thing sound like a positive thing because that's really, like, you can see right here. Part of being an artist is knowing when someone is like ahead of you. And when you ask me what can I give here for feedback, I really got nothing. My um during Feedback Fridays with DJ Lumpia, I'm usually the guy DJ asks like when it comes to concept art, but for illustration because it's more technical and um more of the foundations are in line there. That's DJ's specialty right there. Once again, I was there when this started out. It was really different. It's been 2 years. I think it's been 2 years with this piece. It's been a grind, but
I
that's
can
really come
see.
far. Mm-hmm.
Well, honestly, it's yeah, 2 years is a lot of time, but honestly, it's not that much time. If you think about that, every splash piece that we get to work on, it takes about 5 to 6 weeks. Sometimes it can take even more than that, but it just depends on whether the client has any final adjustments that they want to make or anything like that. So 1 month, over a month per piece, it's definitely something, you know? So it's only natural to think that people are like, oh my gosh, they're so good and they're taking less time and everything. But what you see as a final piece, it's only the the piece that survived 100 rounds of feedback and that like it's standing on top of many of the other pieces that were rejected, you know. So it's only natural to feel like you're not good enough or that you're not quick enough, but actually it's like it's just part of the process, just the way that it's meant to be. It's meant to be really slow, and at the end of the day, you really can see the that every piece is like really high quality, and that's only because it takes a lot of time to develop them. So yeah, that's kind of it. Um, Let me do color dodge around the character in here.
Oh, Raf's correcting me. This piece was like a year ago, not 2 years.
Okay, damn.
It's been a while.
So yeah, like especially if you start doing this thing that I mentioned about the silhouettes to the fists and the other body parts, it's gonna be even 10 times better. Like I can guarantee you. It's a small tweak, but it makes things really a lot more interesting. So and that's something that I learned the hard way, I got a lot of feedback on my drawings as well. And some of it has to do with my shapes and the decisions that I make for the piece. So for example, I can push this one even out of the silhouette and makes it even better, I think. So yeah, let me show before and after the silhouette changes. I think we can agree that it's even better. And let me just do a little bit of atmosphere perspective close to the character so that it's clear that it's reading like that. So Raf, this is absolutely beautiful. I'm just I'm just messing with you here. I'm just trying to do something because you asked me, but this is already pretty damn good. So congrats, my man. This is beautiful work.
Baf says, I'll do the suggestions, two exclamations. Feedbacks are great to figure out what your eyes are missing. And yeah, a lot of crying emojis.
Yeah, I'm really really glad that you guys are enjoying the feedback and well taking something from this, which is the most important part. Uh, so yeah, I'm just happy that I could be helpful this time. So yeah, this is the final piece. So we went from this, which is already great, to this. What do you guys think?
Man, I think I'm losing space here. Raf's head is getting bigger. But yeah, I got nothing. Everyone's harking the same thing. Oh,
Oh man.
oh, I think they're egging Raf to message you later. Like, hey, could you like give me tips on how to get League of Legends sending me the emails? Yeah,
Well,
everyone's egging him to message you later on.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I'm down for it. Yeah, yeah, we can do that.
Oh, you
Uh,
hear that? Yeah. Oh, he's
yeah.
asking, like, are you taking students for mentorship? And then the smiley emoji.
Mm, well, for this year, no. I think this Christmas I want to be a sociable person and I want to connect with my family. So
As
this
you should.
December, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna do any more mentorships, but maybe from, I don't know, maybe in January we can talk about that. Yeah. Like the problem is I don't have a website or anything that you can look up for. So probably if I do any more mentorship spots or anything like that, I'm gonna let you guys know through the Discord or through my Instagram. So
Well,
yeah, sounds good.
keep tuned. And to cap it off, so where can people find you? And you've mentioned Instagram, so it's at loose stroke, like
Yeah,
loose period stroke. Am I right? Is that correct? Is that your handle?
yeah, it is. So
All right.
wait, let me see my profile here. Here it is. You can. This is where I'm the most active, which is kind of disappointing because I'm not really that active in here. So there's that. But I also have my
Our station.
art station. Let's see if I can log in for once. Thank God. Yeah, here. And this is my art station. I haven't even posted this one on Instagram yet, but it's live, it's here. And I have many more to come. I just wish that I could share them as, before they get released, but it might be years. So who knows? These are the ones that we're looking at right now. And oh, yeah, I forgot. I can share this one. Remember the one that I said that I was really excited about, but would never get picked because he was in a back view and
Yeah.
the face was in profile view? This is the one.
Yeah.
So yeah, just fun stuff for you to look at. And like I said, I don't bite. You can guys reach out to me. I have no problem with going into an art talk or anything like that, giving you guys feedback. I'll be more than happy to do that. But please keep in mind, I may take some time to respond because, well, I apparently I'm a grown up now and I have some other obligations. So yeah, I think that is it for the feedback sessions. Do you got any more questions? Maybe any final thoughts?
I'm checking chat. All clear here. As for thoughts, man, once again, I want to say thank you for taking the time to chat, talk about life a bit. Aside from art, I know you get a lot asked about art most of the time, so something different. And I hope you had fun with the interview. And thank you for critiquing.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I was really, really into it. Uh, yeah, honestly, thank you so much for having me here. I was really honored to see that you guys wanted me to be part of the podcast and part of the well, this dynamic that you got going on. I see so many of the other names that you guys have interviewed already, and I'm like, man, I have to binge watch these interviews because I only got to watch some of them. Forrest Mel being the latest one, and yeah, I feel like I'm really happy overall to be here. And oh, maybe one last piece. I can never get enough. Maybe one last piece of feedback around here. You see how you have this swirling ends and this portal thing in here? I feel like it would be a really good excuse to play with some of those shapes wrapping around the forms. Maybe around this
Oh,
fist as
cool.
well.
Mm.
And that's going to give you even more three dimensionality, which is always something that we're really looking for. Okay. So something like that, make sure it doesn't interfere with any of the overlapping elements like that. But yeah, you can just keep playing with this until you find shapes that you're satisfied with. But what this does is like it's gonna give you some more smaller and medium shapes to play with in an area that was pretty much empty in here. You see the bicep and the tricep being like it has a little bit of lighting and information in there, but overall, when you zoom out, it's like an empty space. And if you add like a smaller shape in there, it can really make it look more finished. So, yeah, that's my other remaining piece of advice. That's it. I promise I'm not going to do any more.
Yeah. No, no, they really appreciate it. Yeah, appreciate it. You can see the live chat once the video's up. The live stream chat there. I think a week or so. But yeah, once again, Thank you, man. And what's this? Oh, you're adding color dodge mode to layer stuff.
Yeah, I'm just messing around. If you guys, I can send you this PSD file in case it's useful for anyone. So
Oh yeah, yeah. In this Discord server, feel free if you want to. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I think this is gonna have to do it, right?
yeah. We can. We can hang out for a bit after the stream cuts because I know DJ and Red will pop back into the stream. But for the
Yeah.
rest of you there, sorry, curtains are closing, so we can wrap it off right here. So good night, good morning, or good afternoon to wherever you are. So once again, thank you everyone. This is Loose Stroke,
Thank you
Santiago
so much,
Naranjo.
guys.
All right, see you guys.
If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much. But if you're still looking for more ways you can learn, just head on down to our website at brushpoint.io, where you can watch behind the scenes of this video, watch our live interviews and artist interviews a week earlier, art processes, tutorials, art talks, and lives every single Friday, and even a way to join our Discord community. Just check out that website. Well, that's it. If you want to share this knowledge, well, share with your friends. Like the video, and of course, subscribe if you want more content like this. Thanks again, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.